Hey there, it's Lauren, owner of Imagined Awakenings, and I am ready to get creative with some resin. So, as always, remember safety first. Whenever using epoxy resin, please work in a well-ventilated area and wear your safety gear. So, in this video, I am testing out some brand new molds and I am going to make a geode resin tray. So first and foremost, I'm going to mix my resin and I'm going to pour my two parts. I always pour part B first, and that's because the manufacturer suggests that you pour part B, which is the hardener, and then pour part A, which is the resin, because it makes for an easier process when stirring them together. I'm not sure why that is. I just tried it one day and took their word for it, and it does seem like it just kind of all combines better that way. Stirs easier, or maybe it's just in my head. Anyway, most resin, or maybe all of them, manufacturers give an estimated time frame for how long you should stir before the resin is all combined and ready to go. They recommend 5 to 6 minutes, so I usually put just a 6-minute timer. Let's get it together. Timer on. And stir, you always want to make sure you scrape the sides and the bottom while you're stirring, just to make sure it's all properly combined. As you can also see, I have 4 cups ready with colorants, because you know I like to be fully prepared before I ever pour a drop. So one of the cup is a translucent colorant. One has glitter and 2 have mica powders. So these cups are going to contain the colorants for the geode tray that I'm going to do. And then the leaf molds, I'm going to use alcohol inks. Yay, fun. So you can see the resin is pretty clear. If I put it back down, it's pretty clear at this point. I don't think I warmed it up like I usually do, so it's more bubbly than usual. Bubbly a word? It's one today. So, but that's not going to be a problem for me. So, I'm just measuring out the amount that I think I need in each cup. And I don't like to, so the more resin, I don't know if you noticed, the more resin you have combined in a container, the quicker it will cure. So, if you're not careful, and I just like to live on the edge, but if you're not careful, you'll end up with a hard lump of resin in your cup. So it's part of the reason why I like to go ahead and have everything prepared up front so that I can move pretty quickly. So after I've poured all the resin in each cup, I just want to go ahead and stir those colorants in so they're combined thoroughly. And are ready to go. My computer is just being hateful and just totally just turned white in the middle of me doing this voiceover. And sorry. Anyway, now my little box is in the way. Let me move it over. Okay, now technical difficulties. Sorry, people. Anyway, so what I like to do is I pour the translucent, and then I put broken glass in the translucent parts, and then I just pour the rest of the colors. I don't necessarily have a pattern that I want to start with, but when I create the initial pattern, I kind of stick with it. Kinda. That's probably a lie. I think I go back over it and then just mess it all up. But when I do the first pour, I do kind of stick with the pattern just to make it easier, you know, so I don't have to think real hard about which color to use next. That sounds terrible. Anyway, so I'm just going to go in and layer the colors in. And every time I pour a translucent layer, I'm going to add my broken glass. And that's going to be that. I was just kind of talking about, I just kind of go over and mess it up. I don't really mess it up, but I don't necessarily stick with the original pour pattern. But part of that is just due to, I use some resin more than other when I'm pouring the first layer. And then, of course, the tray's not full at that point because I haven't used all the resin. So I go back and just kind of layer in more color, and just keep pouring until I kind of run out. And it kind of helps to give it a different effect though. So that's just what I've been sticking with. So I poured a ton of resin, a ton. Like in hindsight, I'm like, what was I thinking? Anywho, I think the leaf molds are like 6 ounces each. And the big tray one is like 12 or 14. I'm trying to remember how much it was. It was a lot. And then I still had like 10 ounces of resin left. Like, girl, don't do this no more. Anywho, so I found this cutting board mold that was big enough to hold the rest of the resin that I foolishly stirred up. Anywho. So once I got all of the resin out of the big cup, because I wanted to make sure it didn't turn into a solid block on me, I decided to go in with the alcohol inks. And I really just love alcohol inks. I really just like all the colorants, to be honest. They all give you such cool and different effects. Why do people always message when I'm in the middle of doing voiceovers? It's so rude. Not like they know. Anyway, ignore all the noises in the background. Not even safe when the kids aren't around. Okay, so anyway, I like all the colorants. They're just, I'm going to just throw the phone out the window. Oh my God. Anyway, this one I was kind of just going for a wispy, like smoky effect, which is why I put the white on the bottom. And I've done that on a lot of other pieces, just usually smaller in magnitude. So I put the alcohol ink on top of the white. Of course, then I am going to follow that up with putting some white on top of that as well. So that one gets an extra. And the leaves, I'm just kind of doing it in the regular style, putting the alcohol ink first. Well, the colors, it's all alcohol ink, but the colored alcohol ink first and then the white on top. So these are some pretty sizable pieces. So it took quite a bit to actually get them all, covered, filled, so I didn't have like a ton of clear around the sides. And then I just add a little more white sometimes if I feel like I want to push the colors down a bit more, because that's what pushes the colors down. I'm not sure if you know that with alcohol inks. You put the colors in there, and then the white kind of shoves it down to the bottom of the mold, which turns out to be the top when you demold. All right. So just gonna kind of clean up after myself a bit here, and then I'm going to dump whatever I have left in those cups into this tray mold, waste not, want not, and then I'm gonna go over it with the heat gun. Get out any of those pesky bubbles, smooth everything out, and then it will be time to demold. Alright, ready to demold. My favorite. So these molds, unlike the ones I fought with last video, are super easy. So like 5 seconds and the piece is out. And that glitter, oh my God, I think my camera might be exaggerating a smidge, but like for real, for real. The glitter just pops, and then that glass. And it's funny because initially when I first did it, the inspiration for that piece was a one that I really loved that got scratched, and of course they didn't look the same, so I was disappointed. But now I'm just like, no, we're good. I like it. Okay, so this was the last minute cutting board. I like how it turned out. I could see some of that smoky effect kind of in the parts where there's a little, where there would have been clear. I'm gonna call that a success. I really wish that copper would come out more, but it's so hard to get the metallics to come through, like the gold, the copper, the silver. I don't know why, but those specific alcohol inks are so much harder to get to drop. Like, you just get a bunch of white. Okay, so next we have, I think it's an, I'm gonna get the line about what kind of tree that leaf is supposed to be. I was gonna say oak, but that's probably a lie. Anyway, the pointy one. I would see myself out, but I'm not quite done yet. Anyway, I like how this turned out with the merging of colors. I'm gonna try some like swirls or something next time. I've been watching some other tutorials, and I'm gonna try some different effects with the alcohol inks. But anyway, I like the way that one came out. And then this other leaf, whatever kind it is, pretty. It's a pretty leaf. The leaves are actually a teeny bit more labor intensive to demold than the trays, because you know, I mean, the trays just regular flat or circle flat. Oh my god, seriously. Square or rectangle or circle. Where these have some little sections that kind of make it a little bit harder. And I like to be tender, gentle with the molds, because you know, I'm going to be able to use them repeatedly. I don't want to like tear it up. Alright, so I love the way that one came out. Like, I still might keep it. I'm always starting to keep stuff, but like, I love the way it came out with the contrast of the colors. And I can even see the colors better now that I'm looking at it a second time. I'm a fan. Alright, so thanks for coming by. If you like what you saw, please subscribe, and I will see you next time.